Hello and very warm welcome everyone, it's Marta here. Welcome back. Today's video is a part of the blog hub which I am doing with very talented crafters from the Crafting Together with All the Brands group on the Facebook. I'll leave you the link to the group and also the links to the other videos, so please have a look, give some support to these beautiful crafters, say hi in the comment, subscribe to the channel, follow them. I'm guaranteeing you that you will find lots of different inspiration. For this month blog hub, we decided to hop along with trying different color combination. And the task was to try to find the colors for the month of May. So there is 3 letters in a month, and each one should represent the color. For my color combination, I went with melon, aqua, and yellow. And I think this is going to be a nice composition, and because May is a month of flowers, everything is blooming around, I'm going to be creating flourish card. To create the elements for my card, I've started from taking 3 pieces of the watercolor cardstock, and I am coloring them accordingly to the color choices. I didn't have all of them in exact match, so here's what I did. For the melon color, I choose saltwater taffy, and for the aqua one, I actually use 2 colors, cracked pistachio and tumbled glass, to create this kind of the aqua color. And then I use this squeeze lemonade spray to represent the yellow color. Once I spray all my pieces, I've made sure they properly dry, because I also use a touch of water to help the color to spread around. And now I will cut all the 3 letters using this big alphabet die from Card Making Magic. And I also have this very old flower die from the Tonic studio, I believe. And then this leafy one is very old die from the Spellbinder. So what I did, I cut them several times. Each of the letters I cut 4 times. And then I also cut some floral element to fill up my composition. However, to create a little bit more additional texture for my elements, what I did, I've stamped the front layer of the letter, the one which I knew will be on the front, with a little bit of the text background stamp. This is a very old stamp, and I'm not even able to tell you where I have it from, because I have it for years. I don't even clean it properly. It's just something lying on my desk in a drawer, actually right beside me, and every time I need a little bit of a texture, I'm just reaching for it. And what I did, I stamped each letter with a little bit of the embossing ink, and I spray it with some SIZZIX embossing powder with the match-up colors for my letters, which I already color with Distress ink. And you can see here they looking gorgeous. You can't see it like from the distance, but if you come a little bit more closer, you can see all this beautiful texture. And I do believe that sometimes elevating card to the next level is all about all these details you can add extra. One additional step, it can change the whole look and make your card appear a little bit more better. So once I heat set the powder on each of the letters, I'm gluing them all together, and I'm just adding one layer on top of another, and then make sure that the one with this additional text embossed is on the front. I'm using the liquid glue. You can use a touch of the hot glue as well, or that would be also looking good with the teeny tiny pieces of the foam adhere in between the letters, and that way you could create a lot more texture. And this is something I just thought whilst I'm editing the video. I thought like, I should probably use a tiny strips of the foam tape in between the layers to help it stand out even more, and that will be looking great too. So now I just glue all three letters together, and I also have these circles. And what I like with this flourish die is that it has this central piece which is have these little dots, so I think it's a very nice texture. I also cut a couple of the additional circles from this central part of the flower, and this one I also reach for a piece of the gold cardstock just to help puts a little bit of the shine on the card. So I'm gonna have this little gold rings in the center of the flowers. I think it's looking cute, and it's something different just to, you know, catch your eye whenever you look on the card. So I'm gluing all the elements together, and in a minute I will be starting assembling my card. It's not very complicated card, but I think it's looking nice, and because I went with the larger card base, I think it's just give it a little extra elegant. And what I'm also doing here, it's the last step, I'm adding a teeny tiny bit of the ink to the edges of my elements. I think it helps to create that depth, and it also helps to, you know, helps them to get that dimension, and it's just this nice extra finish which I like to add for my cards. I switched the ink for the broken china just so I could have a little bit more darker color on the edge. And now I am just trying to cut my petals a little bit farther down so I could create a more dimensional flower. Another thing I really like to add to my card is to use this 3D mold, which is from Herflet Creation, and it create this wrinkle petal effect on my paper flowers, and I think it's something which really helps them to pop out and have this beautiful look. I'm just taking my scissors, and then I just cut all these petals a little bit. For my card, I'm using this large 8 by 8 inches card base, and then I use a little piece of the paper with which I embossed and give it a nice texture, just so I could have some interest to the background. And I also cut this big gold circle. I use this Creative Craft product circle dies, and I cut almost the largest one, this thin frame. I think it's something which add this extra shine to my card, and that will be a little bit more interest, and it will kind of help me to, you know, put my elements together into the one composition. To make sure I am adding my letters in a straight line, I put a piece of the cardstock underneath, so this helps me. You can also use the ruler, which I couldn't find at the time I was gluing those letters. I'm adding hot glue to the back side, and then I am slightly putting one on top of another. You can see here they just all touching, just so I could have I could squeeze it in this circle. I could put it a little bit lower, however I wanted to leave some space for my floral composition because these flowers, they are quite large, so I wanted to make sure I have enough space. For this sentiment I use the word May, and then I put May all your dreams come true. I think it's just something nice, and I think it will just give it this nice, you know, a sentiment to my card. And then I'm just gonna quickly shape my flower. I'm using the shaping tool and a piece of the sponge, and I'm just pressing firmly once I glue two layers together, just so I could have that dimension. And then for the floral center, I'm using those yellow little disc which I've created, and I am lifting them with the piece of the foam tape just so they could stand a little bit higher, because my flower is very dimensional, and if I will put it all the way back, if I will squeeze it, that will flatten out my flower. So that's why I'm adding a teeny tiny piece of the foam tape to the center, and it's also looking nice because this floral center are a little bit more pop out from this flower. You can see here it's just a teeny tiny bit of the foam, and then I'm adding the glue to this little disc, and then I am adding the liquid glue to this gold disc because it's slightly larger. It's not going exactly on the top of this yellow, but they all come from the same die cut piece. So just to help it to stay in a place, I'm adding the liquid glue here. Then I am adding the hot glue to the back side of the flower, and the other one I'm just gonna slightly lift with the foam tape on top. And here you can see these are really nice and big flowers. I think they turn out a little bit bigger than I expected, but because I've used the large card base, I have enough space for everything. Last thing is just to fit out my leaves, and I cut a few extra as well. I've got those little ones, so these will help me to fill all the gaps whenever I feel I need to add the extra bit. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope this spikes some inspiration so you could experiment, try to take different words, and you can play each month and then try to fill the colors with the letters, and that will give you some ideas for the color inspiration to use. I encourage you to check all the other videos which are down below in the description area. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and bye bye.